My wedding was ruined. I've debated about posting this, but I have to rant to someone. Me 23F and my now husband, Josh 26M, had our wedding last week. At first, everything was beautiful. Got married to my high school sweetheart and was so happy. It felt like my fairy tale come true. I felt like a princess. While I'm taking photos with my bridesmaids, I see Josh's cousin Nicole with the girl, I'll call her Sarah, I'm unfamiliar with. She seems non-talkative, but is friendly to me at first. We finish our photos and go inside to relax and chat before I walk down the aisle. A long while later, after the vows were exchanged, I bump into Sarah while on my way to the food table. She's clearly intoxicated, but through her slurred speaking, I could hear her ranting about how crowded the venue was, but then it escalates. I was getting food for my mom when she said to me that she's surprised Josh married someone like me, because Josh could do better than me. I tried to laugh it off and I told her I was very lucky to have him. The interaction left me feeling upset, but I brushed it off as her just being drunk, and I starting drinking too, and soon forgot about it. Time goes past, and I'm feeling good. Me and my husband along with all the guests were dancing. Suddenly, I hear a crashing sound near the food table, and all of us rush over to see what was happening. I see Sarah on the ground sobbing hysterically, and Nicole was trying to calm her down. She had completely smashed my wedding cake and ripped the decorations. My heart was broken to see my wedding cake completely destroyed, but I tried to ask what was wrong, and Sarah started screaming and cursing me. I was confused and drunk, so I started shouting back and ordered my husband to kick her out. He didn't want to and told me she should be allowed to stay since she was a friend. I argued with him and told him that she's ruined my wedding. It eventually took my husband and Nicole to get her under control and convince her to go home. Nicole left with Sarah, and when my husband came back, he looked angry with me. He completely blew me off for the rest of the night, and I could tell the atmosphere was now awkward for all my guests. The next day, my husband lectured me about how I hurt Sarah's feelings and demanded I apologize to her. We argued, and he slept on the couch. Things eventually cooled down, so I tried to talk to him about it the following days, but he shut me down and just told me I was being over-dramatic about the situation. I've never even seen Sarah until my wedding. I have no clue why she would lash out like that. I'm hurt that my husband doesn't see my perspective. Even though she was drunk, she ruined my special day, and now, can't think of the happy memories I have, because I can only think of that incident. Sorry for the long read. Thanks for listening. I made my boss cry. Now, wondering if I'm a horrible person. My boss is also my friend, and recently had a death in the family. I have been with her the whole time, checking in, loving, and even financially supported the catering, and she seemed okay this weekend. At my workplace, we have stations, and once again, I was asked to do 3 at once, which is like 3 people's jobs. I told her this is getting too much, and I need help. That night crew needs to help and was met with, they are short-staffed. I fell silent as my anxiety brewed. Later on, joked, I'm grumpy in the morning's different conversation, and she then told me she wanted to walk out this morning because I was snappy, and how horrible I am, and this is all my fault. Then she started crying. I tried to explain I was not personally attacking her, and I never meant it that way, just, I am frustrated with the situation. That was the icing to my anxiety cake. So a little bit later, my hands began to shake, my heart raced, and I had one massive anxiety attack that had no control over. I raced to the back, and my friend who works the kitchen was trying to calm me down, but by now it was too late. I just kept begging over and over for my boss not to see me because I was terrified she was going to get angry again. Well, my boss walked in and looked in horror. In the middle of said anxiety attack, she gently said to go on break, and I ran and was gone for an hour. Later, she avoided me like the plague and didn't bother to ask if I was okay. She stayed over her shift though, and stayed with me the entire time doing the other 2 stations. Eventually she asked why I was mad and told her. She gaslit me and was mean. That resulted in her crying again, but she really stuck to me like glue. The next morning, she avoided me and looked like she had been crying all night, but later on thanked me for everything I do. I'm still mad she never asked me if I was okay, and makes it all about her. Now, I worry she is still mad at me. I just want to quit my job and so over being used. Am I really that horrible of a human being? Am I that bad? Thank you for listening to my rant. Father's Day crybaby. So my 30th birth father 50 meters was a monster, and I ultimately raised his kids, but he had the audacity to cry to my grandmother about how none of my kids wished me happy Father's Day, and it's her fault. Apparently I'm a master of manipulation, and have convinced my little sister 24F to ignore him. Currently helping to take care of my grandmother 80s, and unfortunately my grandmother feels slighted that I wouldn't just send him an obligatory text. In response, I found a wonderful homemade video of my father and his second wife giggling as they pretend to abandon me at a park and video my reaction. I was 7, and even though the video lasts about 30 minutes, it wasn't the first or last time they had done such a thing. My grandma is 80-something but naive, and also pretty entitled herself, and feels like I should extend an olive branch and forgive him, because it was hard on him having such an awful wife. Yeah, not my problem he has shitty taste. So I told her he is not entitled to forgiveness, and especially since her never apologized. He is apparently very upset, and my little sister spent the day with my husband and I. Because he has access to her phone location, and though I have even reminded her to send a cursory HFED text to him, she forgot and is now actively ignoring him, so she doesn't have to deal with the pity party. I'm pretty sure the only reason he is complaining this time is because my little sister didn't text him, because I don't think I've said Happy Father's Day to him since elementary school. Anyway, he's telling the rest of my family I'm turning my sister away from him, but thankfully he's well known as a liar. But now, really tempted to post that video on F and title it Happy Belated Father's Day. Found my father after 20 years. I end up regretting it. Not sure if this goes here, but had to get this off my chest somewhere. I 27F haven't seen my father in 20 years. Thanks to my mother. She left him and took me with her to the other end of the country. During the divorce, she spread lies about him hurting me and having kitty stuff on his computer. She lied to everyone that would listen. In the end, she got full custody, and he never saw me again. I believed her lies, and my mind created false memories based off those lies. All the while, she was spreading lies. She was beating and belittling me behind closed doors. Thanks to years of therapy, and more or less separate the real from the fake. Once I learned that he never actually hurt me, I went looking for him. Today, I finally found him on Facebook. He's remarried and seemingly happy. I scrolled through his page, learning about the man that taught me to swim, golf, play soccer, and take me out for root beer floats after school. I regretted almost immediately when his first post was about how anyone who celebrates Juneteenth should be eradicated in order to keep America racially pure. Another post was him praising those who were at the January 6th insurrection and how he wished he had been there. The last post I looked at was him holding a shotgun. He labeled the F at God Killer with the caption, "I'm doing God's will." I didn't scroll any further than that. I feel disgusted that I come from not one but two nutjobs. If I had grown up with both of them, I might have ended up believing in the same stuff as them. I can't imagine being so full of hate and disgust just because someone is different than you. In the end, I have decided to not make contact. I'm not going to risk bringing that kind of toxicity into my family's lives. Besides, if he had really cared about me, he would have sought me out long before I went looking for him. Entitled Mom still trying to contact me. My mom has always played victim ever since I can remember. I used to do anything for her, whenever I could. I always sided with her up until a few years ago. I'm sure she's a narcissist. Last March, I went no contact with her and blocked her on everything. After seeing that she blocked me on Facebook one day, I had enough with her drama and was actually trying to distance myself from her at the time. So that was the final straw for me. To this day, she still tries calling me, my husband, and our house phone, and leaves the most vague messages. A part of me wants to unblock her number just to scream at her to quit contacting us. But I know she would put that in her little list of reasons why I'm an unstable person. Don't get me wrong, I've made some poor choices, but unlike her, I don't Try to act better than anyone, or believe that I'm always right no matter what. I feel like I'm trapped with her hovering around me waiting for me to slip up so she can try to snatch my kids from me. It'll never happen, but for a while we did come to an agreement that she took care of my oldest until I got back on my feet. The whole time she took care of my kid, she was technically homeless, living off state assistance, or crying to her newest boy toy. Why? She's a victim, time and time again, and she just needs a break. She's in no position to do anything either. She's living with my younger sister on base, who's also sick of her entitled attitude. I'm your mother, so you have to help take care of me, even though she barely puts in the bare minimum to get by. I'm just here to rant, because she'll have her flying monkeys report back to her if I vent on Facebook or even Snapchat.